The indie game Undertale that took the gaming community by storm back in 2015 captivated gamers from all walks of life, with its heartfelt story, enticing gameplay, outstanding music, and even little bits and pieces of hidden lore. Even more fascinating is that the entire game was created by one person. Even now, as the original creator of the game continues working on a spin-off titled Deltarune, many people have begun to feel nostalgic for the original game that started such a large, passionate fan base. And rightly so. From start to finish, Undertale is the perfect game for anyone. It doesn't matter if you're into adventure games, horror games, or even first-person shooters. Undertale is something for everyone, and it still holds up even after 8 years. For those who don't know about Undertale, that can be understandable. It is an indie game after all, so it wasn't produced by anyone with a big name like Nintendo or Blizzard or someone like that. An indie game is usually created by a smaller group of people with a small budget, usually much less than those bigger corporations. Or, if you're Undertale, you're created in an apartment building in New Hampshire by one guy with a story to tell. Toby Fox created everything in the game, from the story to the characters to the coding, and even composed all of the music himself. But that's enough on the backstory. Let's get into the game itself. The first thing about Undertale that grabs your attention has to be the different characters. The most discerning thing about Undertale compared to other games is that all of the characters, except for our protagonists, are all different species of monsters. There's skeletons, spiders, robots, dinosaurs, fish people, goat people, there's even a sentient flower. All kinds of different creatures that make up the world of Undertale. Each one has their own distinct personalities, so much so that the way the player treats these characters will have an impact on their dialogue paths, and can even change different parts of the story. Speaking of story, it's hard to get into too much detail without spoiling too much, so I'll do the best I can without giving it away. In Undertale, you take control of a small human. At the beginning of the game, the player gets the chance to name the character whatever they want, effectively inserting themselves into the game. The story follows the player and their choices, all of which dictate where the story goes. But to label it as a simple choose-your-own-adventure game would be a massive injustice. While yes, your choices do change the overall ending of the game, there's so many other intricate details that make the game feel so much more immersive than just a simple cause and effect style game. As an extra bonus, the exposition at the end of the game, in tandem with the music that comes with it, especially that part that goes, it makes the whole story a super emotional experience. Finally, we arrive at the music of the game. Not only did Toby Fox create all of the characters, story, and code the entire game, he composed and recorded all of the music from the game itself. I'm sure there's that one song almost everyone knows at this point. It has been memed to death after all. But there's also other special songs in the game worth mentioning, like this song. There's not just that song though, there's also Undertale. Yes, a song in the game is named after the game itself. Yes, it's confusing. In fact, even all of the music I've been using for this video is from Undertale. The music just adds even more emotional connection to the events happening in the game, making it an even more immersive and more emotionally triggering experience. All of this is to just say that Undertale is definitely worth your time. At only 8 hours for the first playthrough, yes, you will end up playing the game more than once, believe me on that. Undertale has all of the story, gameplay, and music that anyone could ever want from a video game. At this point, it doesn't even feel appropriate to call a video game anymore, especially considering all of the negative connotations around video games. But Undertale is by all means a masterpiece. I would highly recommend this game to anyone and everyone. I know it seems like I'm trying to oversell it at this point, but seriously, even if you don't buy the game and play it yourself, just watch a playthrough of the game. It is so worth it. Trust me on this one. I have spent way too much time playing the game myself. It is, by all means, worth the time, effort, and dedication to experience this masterpiece of storytelling concocted by one genius sitting up in an apartment in New Hampshire.